Welcome, everybody, to Xavier Basketball Weekly Show on the Grizzly True Sports Network. I'm your host for the Xavier Basketball Weekly Show, Mike Goodpaster. And right now, I would like to welcome in Andy MacWilliams. How you doing, Andy Mac?
I'm good. I'm getting ready for Armageddon, World War III. It's Xavier against the PC Friars Saturday at Seton. And Ed Cooley, the humorist and PC coach is apparently his players are coming with shoulder pads and the helmets for this game.
Oh, well, that'll work out good then. But I think Xavier, the way they've been playing, might be able to handle that, as we've had a complete 180, 360, whatever it is, in the last week. And we're going to start off. Let's look back at the Seton Hall game a little bit, which the Xavier Musketeers won 74-62. And the thing that jumps right out at you is shooting 54.5% from the field.
Yeah, that definitely helped, and also the rebound disparity in that game. I think Xavier out-rebounded them by 38 or 39, some ridiculous figure. And Seton Hall has 2'7" guys, and the big 6'11" guy from Europe, Sandro Mamu Kalashvili, returned. He played in that game, so Xavier really took it to him, and obviously Tyreek Jones had a great ball game. I think 19 points, 18 rebounds, 4 blocks. He was the Big East player of the week. He led the way, and the bench played well. Kiki Tandy is, I think, a game changer coming off the bench. Xavier's 4-6 in the Big East, and Kiki's averaged 14 points per game in those 4 victories. So he's a little bit of a game changer there. And Quentin Gooden has adapted well to coming off the bench. He's like a super sub. He's playing probably 28 to 29 minutes, although he's not starting at the moment. So, 2 straight wins on the road, 2 road kills, as Travis Steele describes them. Great defense and tough on the boards, and some free throws actually went in at Depaul. I think there were 17 for 24 from the line after 2 really bad games. I mean, obviously the 44% game against Marquette, in that double overtime loss, that cost them a W. And Xavier's got to make it up in this crazy Big East. They have got to make it up, and beat PC here at home, and then maybe run the table in the last 4 home games. And this team has a heck of a shot of going to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, the Seton Hall win, I think, is what gets them back at least on the bubble, if they're not on the fringes of being in right now. Because Seton Hall, I think, is one of the best teams in the country, and that backcourt of McKnight and Powell. They got some big guys underneath. And the thing that impressed me most about that win is after they jump off to the big lead, every time it seemed like Seton Hall was getting ready to make a run, Xavier had an answer for them.
Yeah, and they did the same thing at Depaul. They led big time. Xavier did at the half in Chicago on Tuesday, and they had that 30-6 bulge on Seton Hall at the Rock in Newark. So quick starts have been a winning formula for X. I think they're 15-0 when leading at the half. And this PC game, though, it's going to be in the 60s, maybe in the 50s. It's going to be a smash mouth, half court. A lot of big boys on the floor down low, and I don't know. Neither of these teams are great free throw shooters. Maybe it's who makes the most free throws wins this one, and I think it's going to be a close.
Yeah, I think it definitely will be, but most Big East games are close. And when you look at the standings now, Xavier's kind of creeping up towards the middle of the pack, or sitting kind of in the middle of the pack right now. Providence game is huge. You got Butler after that. But when you look at the Providence game, I think a big key here is Kiki Tandy again. Just his ability to shoot the ball opens this offense up, I think, inside.
Yeah, Tandy is a flamethrower, and he's shooting a really good percentage from 3 in those Big East victories, up over 40. And he's starting to put his whole game sort of out to view now. He's a great driver of the basketball, and they'll take it in even against huge Big East caliber frontline players like, PC has 2 big boys down on the block. Neither one of them are very skilled offensively. Nate Watson and Khalil Young are both, they're sort of like bookends, 6'10", 250, 255. They blot out the sun. They box out well. They'll score around the hoop. And, Kiki's not afraid to his foot is healed. He'll just take it to the rim and throw up some kind of a scoop layup or dunk over him, and then go to the line for a traditional 3-point play. But you're right. He gives Xavier a wild card from three-point range. I think Zach Fremantle is going to have a chance to pull out and take one of those big guys away from the basket. And he has shown the ability that if he's open on the wing and he can step into the three, he's deadly. So we'll see how he adapts to the size inside. He did pretty well against Seton Hall, and they're big guys, and hopefully Fremantle and Tyreek can cancel out the size that PC has down on the block. And they've got one of the best players in the league who's slumped a little bit lately, Alpha Diallo, who's a 6'7" senior, first team All Big East. And I think Diallo's going to have to drop a pretty big number to give PC a strong chance here at Cintas.
Yeah, and I think if you look at their win against Creighton, which I thought was impressive, Creighton's a good team this year, 17-6. A.J. Reeves was a big part of that game, too, throwing in 22 points.
Oh, he's a wild card. He's a sophomore, 6'6". He's a wing shooter. And last year, before he suffered a foot injury in the non-conference, A.J. Reeves was a knockdown three-point shooter. He was their leading scorer, I believe, through the non-conference. Then he screwed up his foot, and he really struggled. But as you say, against Creighton, he knocked down 6 threes, scored 22. And Ed Cooley is a resourceful dude. He's had 8 different starting lineups for PC this year. Now Reeves is back in the starting lineup, and he gives them the ability to maybe stretch the defense and space the floor better. But Cooley actually, he dealt with the improbable. He played a lot of zone against Creighton, which is supposed to be death, with their 3 guys outside, Alexander, Ballack, and Zagorowski. That's supposed to be a non-starter, but he did it a lot in the second half, and Providence blew their doors off, 42-20 in the second half. And as you say, Creighton, they just moved into the top 25 at 21, and that was a heck of a win for PC. And the game before that, they beat Butler over at Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Yeah, and not many people do that. Butler is a very good team who's been a little off lately. But the other thing that stands out to me, like you said, with those 2 wins, we may have the 2 hottest teams in the Big East right now getting ready to match up.
Well, somebody's got to cool off. Hopefully it will be PC. There's a logjam. Tied for third. Butler, Creighton, Marquette, and Providence are all 6-4. Seton Hall has a 2-game lead on Villanova, and Seton Hall plays Villanova at Wells Fargo tomorrow. That's an early game, so Villanova's now 2 games back. They're 7-3. Seton Hall 9-1. But Xavier really needs to get the 9 wins in this league, and losing to the Providence here at Cintas is not a real good way to get there. I mean, this is a game. This would make up for the L that they sort of frittered away with bad free throw shooting 10 days ago against Marquette.
Yeah, most definitely. And the other great thing about tomorrow night is they're honoring that 1990 Xavier Musketeers team.
Yeah, it should be good. Joe Sunderman and I did the game. Joe just tripped over himself here in the press room, but he's all right. He's a big fella.
It happens.
He's still standing. But, that was a hell of a 2-game run over at the Hoosier Dome. Kansas State and Steve Henson, they went down in the first round. I think Lon Kruger coached that team at Kansas State. And then Xavier took on Morning and Matumbo and the beasts of the Big East, the Georgetown Hoyas, in the second round. And Xavier had them all the way, won 74-71 on a tip-in by Aaron Williams. That was the winning. He was a freshman then. Tyrone Hill had fouled out of the game, and Aaron played and tipped in the winner.
Yeah, I mean, Xavier had 3 big men that played in the NBA. They only had 2, I think. So the thing that really struck me about 1990, I'd forgotten about this, but wasn't it the same year they opened the season losing to Southern Utah at the Gardens?
Oh yeah, man! Why you bring that game up? That's the last opening game that Xavier's lost. That was 1989 at the Gardens. Southern Utah State came in. We never heard of them. I didn't even know they were Division I or not. They had a little guard who dropped about 38, and Xavier had been sniffing and looking at their press clippings all the preseason. I think they might have been ranked preseason or something. And it was just like one of those games, trading baskets, and this little guard came out of nowhere, and he was throwing them in from the ocean, the parking lot at Cincinnati Gardens, I don't know, over the hockey boards. He drove the Zamboni out there and shot one from the top of that. I don't know. But, yeah, that was a bad start. Then they went to Robert Morris in the second game and played at a little high school gym in Coriopolis, PA. And Bobby Morris was pretty good, and they almost blew that one. But after that game, I mean, they lost very few. They lost twice to the Dayton Flyers up in Dayton. And I think they might have lost one at Evansville, and that was it.
Yeah, and the game that I remember because I was at the Gardens was the game against Loyola Marymount where they beat them, what was it, like 120 to 118 or 115 to 114?
Oh, that's an all-timer. Like 115, 113.
Yeah.
They beat them. The Loyola Marymount, Jamal Walker scored on a layup at the buzzer, and that Loyola team had Hank Gathers, Bo Kimball. They had the guy from Sweden who was a great shooter. They had a
Pierce Steamer, wasn't it? Or it was Pierce something.
Pierce Steamer.
Yeah.
Pierce Steamer. And they had a towhead Beach Boy 6'5" white kid who just filled it up from outside.
Jeff
I forgot
Fryer,
his name.
wasn't it?
Jeff Fryer, yes.
Yeah, because he's the kid that hit like 12 threes against Michigan in the first round of the NCAA, or second round of the tournament that year.
Yeah, that's when Bo Kimball in the tournament went to the line and shot his first free throw in every game left-handed.
And made it
as a tribute to Hank Gathers. Yep.
Yeah, and I know we talked about
that was a two-game. That was a home and home series. Xavier went out to California and beat Loyola the year before, and Paul Westhead was the coach, and his philosophy was we get a shot off within 7 seconds of inbounding the ball, and that was the way he played.
Yeah, I think we blew them out in '89 out there because I remember that game was like on a Thursday night at 11:30 at night or something because I remember staying up and watching it with you and Joe Sunderman, I think, calling the game.
We were there. We were there. It's a beautiful campus at Loyola, and he got Gathers and Kimball on a transfer from USC. I don't know how he exactly operated there, but they were great players.
We've all got a pretty good idea of how he operated there, probably.
I don't want to get sued. I'm not going to say it.
I don't think he gets sued. It's been so long ago. I think the statute of limitations would be up on it.
You're probably right. No doubt the money changed hands. Those guys, both Kimball and Gathers, were from Philadelphia, and they end up at USC. They were recruited like Big East, everybody, ACC wanted them. They end up at USC. And I forget what coach it was got fired or they weren't happy. And Paul Westhead was more than delighted to get them in the transfer.
Well, Westhead was the coach for the Lakers that Magic got fired, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah. Magic went upstairs to Dr. Jerry Buss and got that guy fired.
Yeah, and they brought in their radio play-by-play guy, Pat Riley, and the rest is history.
That's right. Riley was smart enough to trademark three-peat, and he made millions of dollars selling getting royalties on the three-peat, 3 NBA championships in a row. He made a ton of money.
Yeah, and plus he also was smart enough to know to do whatever Magic Johnson wanted him to do.
Yeah, you don't run counter to Magic if he didn't want to practice hard. I mean, Westhead probably. With his style, he wanted Magic to run the floor all the time. And that's,
shoot threes. Magic didn't shoot threes.
No, he had no ability out there. Why, Mike? Why didn't I patent or trademark number 1 in the country, number 2 in their own city?
Has anybody else done it
maybe
yet?
$30.
I would say that you could still do that, but I don't think UC is ever going to be ranked that high ever again, Andy.
Skyline Chili stole that, and that's the way they stole that crosstown shootout deal. I gave it that name back in '85. It was just the UC Xavier game. Let's call it the crosstown
Yeah,
shootout.
you
Everybody
definitely
can
should
land
have
on top.
trademarked that. You could have made a little bit of money there.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
So I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
We all live and learn, Andy. We all live and learn. All right. Tomorrow night, Xavier beats Providence. I think we both agree on this, correct?
Muskies win a hard-fought, bitter, physical, contretemps, whatever, 66-63, and go to 5-6 in the league, and then head to Butler on Wednesday and get back to 500.
All right. That sounds great. Plus 1990, wasn't it jumping Jamal Walker over UC in double overtime?
Jumping Jamal, yeah, he was the point guard, and Tyrone Hill, Derek Strong, Michael Davenport, freshman Jamie Gladden, all those guys are in the Xavier Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
all
they
5.
should be. That's my favorite Xavier team of all time.
I think Pete Gillen would agree with you, and he's not going to be able to be here because he's working for CBS Sports Network in, of all places, wherever Utah State is. Is that in Provo?
I think it's, is it Logan? I think it might be Logan, but I'm not sure.
Hey, if it's not Salt Lake City, it doesn't exist on my map.
I don't know. If it's Utah, it doesn't exist, Andy.
Well, I'm not skiing anymore, so I don't.
Except for when Rick Majerus was there, because that guy could coach a basketball team.
And he lived in a hotel right next to the arena.
Yeah.
He never bought a house, never rented a condo. He always lived in a hotel.
Yeah. All right, Andy. I will see you tomorrow night, and we will see our listeners again next Friday, where we'll talk about hopefully 2 more Xavier wins, and everything will really be looking up. But, Andy, you want to tell everybody where they can follow you on Twitter?
Yeah, I've got some Twitter feeds previewing the game and talking about the 1990 Xavier Sweet 16 team at MM_Andy Mac, MM_Andy Mac, all lowercase. And I have sort of like, I don't know what I'm doing when I'm threading those tweets, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing half the time either, but I know I'm going to go look for those 1990 wins, and you can go to the Grueling Truth, at Grueling Truth, and I'll be retweeting those tonight because it was my favorite Xavier team. But for now, for Andy MacWilliams, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to the Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.